What's your goal by the end of your first term in 2026? And what lessons do you think other cities can learn from what you've done?
Well, my goal would be really to end street homelessness.
When you talked to Jake Tapper in 2023, you said that your goal was to end street homelessness in LA by 2026. It's now 2026.
And we haven't ended it.
We have not ended it, and we're not close to ending it. How are you so off?
Well, basically...
Lying through her teeth. She knows she wasn't gonna do nothing about it. You act like you ain't never lived in LA before you became the mayor. You know what the problem is before you ran. Let's move on to Karen Bass' sorry, ashy elbows. Let's put on the map. She got exposed going on a CNN. She lied and said she want to get rid of homelessness. This is what they tell y'all every year, and some of y'all stupid, not y'all that watch me, I'm talking about somebody who watch somebody else's podcast, stupid enough to keep voting for this dumb. Behave yourself. The only reason I'm so mad at these people because they're destroying a beautiful state. It's a beautiful city in LA that could be beautiful. They're destroying it, and they lying to you, and they give you a big middle finger, and they take your tax dollars, they burning your stuff up like it's in a trash can. And they smirk and they laugh at you. And your cousin and them are too stupid to realize it, and they keep voting for these devils. This dumb B word literally lied to you guys and said, we're gonna clean up homelessness in 2026. Listen to her say it. Roll it.
What's your goal by the end of your first term in 2026? And what lessons do you think other cities can learn from what you've done?
Well, my goal would be really to end street homelessness.
When you talked to Jake Tapper in 2023, you said that your goal was to end street homelessness in LA by 2026. It's now 2026.
And we haven't ended it.
We have not ended it, and we're not close to ending it. How are you so off?
Well, basically, when I said that, it was at the beginning of my term. I am very committed to achieving that goal. I didn't anticipate some of the bureaucratic barriers that I would experience, but I am prepared to take those on now. And let me just give you an example. Los Angeles made a decision probably 20, 25 years ago to not address street homelessness, to focus solely on building. And granted, I have fast-tracked 42,000 units of affordable housing, but it still takes a couple of years. So basically the policy of LA City and LA County was we could accept street homelessness as long as we were building. We didn't anticipate the problem metastasizing. In my 3.5 years, for the first time, 2 years in a row, street homelessness has decreased in our city. There hadn't been a decrease before. That is a quality of life issue that impacts all Angelenos. Whether you are unhoused or whether you run a business and your business can't function because there's tents outside, whether you're a parent that's trying to navigate through tents to get to school, or whether it's residents where it has decreased the quality of life. So this is a problem that all Angelenos experience, and we have got to have a commitment that this has to end. The city and the county never made that commitment before.
Time out.
And I found...
You said, you dirty broad, that I'm gonna end homelessness in 2026. You didn't say I'm gonna reduce it. You didn't say I'm gonna try. You should have been doing your calculation on your fingers to figure out what you can and cannot do before you lied to everybody. You knew you lied. You knew you weren't gonna do nothing. And now it decreased. And to how much? 5 people are not on the street today from 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Oh, that's called a decrease. No, you didn't. You didn't do nothing. Homeless people burning. Every time I go to LA, I see fires and stuff on the side of the freeway. Because these homeless people set stuff on fire. Under the bridge, stuff caught on fire. They got to block traffic and divert because homeless people, it's out of control. And I'm sick of these people lying to us. Lying through her teeth. She knows she wasn't going to do nothing about it. You act like you ain't never lived in LA before you became the mayor. You know what the problem is before you ran. I didn't know that there was going to be bureaucracy. You knew that because you live in the city with your lying self. I want to cuss. I want to cuss, y'all. I want to cuss. Give me one uncut, unedited. I'd be saying all kind of stuff, and y'all have to pray for me. These people sicken me. Let her finish.
Something that surprised me. I found a lot of people who work internal in the system who were very resistant to ending street homelessness.
But you promised that it would go away 100%, and it's only gone down about 17.6%.
Right.
So why should people trust you that you're going to be able to get to the 100%?
Because let me just tell you, for the first time, we've had a decrease at all.
Yeah.
There was not a decrease before at all because there was no commitment to get rid of street encampments. And we had encampments all over the city. So I would ask for people's trust in the sense that we have absolutely made progress. We know what we need to do now to end street homelessness. We need to end the failed policies of the past, which is all we're going to do is focus on building, and we are going to ignore street homelessness. That is what the city and the county has done for years, ignored street homelessness.
Lying through her teeth, and that wig on top of her head, that dry mop, lying. So I hope y'all wake up. Listen, y'all, I have to talk about this. I was sent this image, and it's the craziest thing that I ever seen. And I'm not trying to make fun of nobody, but somebody helped their cousin them who got these Wagyu ribeye thighs. This is an MRI done of a woman's thighs. Literally look like they came from Japan, or not Japan, Kobe Wagyu. That's what it is. And when you look at it, this woman had to have been literally having a diet of just cereal, candy, what they got, soft drinks, AKA sodas, bottles, sugar drinks, which is like Gatorade and all that other stuff. I don't understand why people decide to do themselves this way. When you don't eat healthy or you don't even attempt, you end up like this. But we got to talk about it. And so I want to bring our dear friend back, Kim Bright. She's the founder of Brightcore. Has been helping Americans get healthy for 50 years. Kim, welcome to the show.
Oh, great to be back, Brandon. Yeah, those look like great steaks if you're eating Wagyu beef, but those aren't great thighs to have, I'm telling you, because, typically when we think about fat, we're thinking about the fat that we can actually see with our eyes. I mean, the big beer bellies, the flabby arms and flabby thighs. But there's a lot of the fat that's affecting our health that we cannot see. There's something called visceral fat. That's the fat that surrounds our organs, and it has serious health implications. And we've known about that for a long time. But there's this new research about a different kind of fat that also has serious implications for our health. And it's something I think everybody needs to know about and should be talking about. Now, you can look on the outside and your muscles might look firm and strong, but then the internal structure, which you cannot see, that is not strong. That is where fat is slowly building up inside the muscle tissue, and that's called intramuscular fat. That's what you saw there. And this can actually affect how well the muscle's going to work over time. Muscles, all muscles in your body. Not only are your muscles affected, but it also is going to impact your joints and your mobility, because the muscles help those things move, right, and hold them in place. So this study focused specifically on thigh muscles because they play such a key role in supporting our knees, which affects daily movements such as walking or standing. And another thing is osteoarthritis, Brandon, is an increasingly prevalent and costly global health issue. It is constituting one of the largest non-cancer related healthcare costs in the United States and around the world. And it's highly linked to obesity and unhealthy lifestyle choices.
And Kim, similarly to what we saw in that image, could this possibly be related to processed foods and some of that junk food that people eat on a day-to-day basis?
Yes, I hate to even call them ultra processed foods. They're really just substances and compounds. There's just nothing in them. I mean, when we think about ultra processed foods, we think about high amounts of sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats, but it's more than that. It's about the chemicals that they use in these things. They use hydrogenated oils, including seed oils, modified starches, emulsifiers, artificial colorants, and flavors. And while ultra-processed foods are high in sugar, fat, and salt, Their danger lies equally in being low in fiber, lacking in nutrients, and hyperpalatable. They make them taste good and people get addicted. These hyperpalatable foods are engineered with chemicals to be irresistible. They look good, they taste good, and that sends brain signals that cause you to overeat. And that's what's keeping you addicted to these unhealthy things. I can't call them foods. I'm sorry. I almost shake when I call them foods. And it makes it so hard for you to lose weight. The rise of these ultra processed foods is driven by these powerful companies, these commercial forces. They do aggressive marketing, and then they're one of the biggest lobbyists in DC that shapes our food policies. They're in cahoots. Let's just say the truth. They're in cahoots with Big Pharma, Brandon. And it's a vicious cycle of us buying their poisonous food, getting addicted to it, then we get sick, and now we get to use their drugs.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
but RFK I think he's done a pretty decent job. I would like to see them do more, but I got a clip from RFK of him talking about this.
70% of Americans are either obese or overweight. And it's not because they got indolent or because we became lazy or because we suddenly developed giant appetites. It's because we're being given food that is low in nutrition and high in calories, and it's destroying our health. I see it when I go across the country.
We met with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. last month after he issued new dietary guidelines that for the first time advise against highly processed foods. You have said that these ultra-processed foods are poisoning us. I think many Americans would be surprised to hear that.
And we're seeing in our population people who are obscenely obese and at the same time malnourished.
Yeah, I find it to be very interesting because I look at certain populations of people, I look at government assistance and the things like that. It's like our government is assisting people who are low income to consume more of this stuff. And growing up, that's all we ate was processed. It was convenient, it was cheap, and it was addictive.
Exactly. And I agree with you. And now they're trying to make a change and make it so if you are, if you have less money, that you can go in and get real food rather than just this stuff with food stamps and things like that. Before it wasn't like that. So I think and where they're getting education out more to people. So hopefully people will start to understand that is not the stuff to eat or put in your children's bodies. But RFK Jr. just released his first episode of his podcast a few weeks ago about fixing America's food system. And he said in that we now have the highest chronic disease burden in the entire world. We've gone from spending zero on chronic disease when his uncle JFK was president in 1960 to spending now 4.3 trillion a year. And it's now the biggest budget item in the federal government. 40 cents, think of it, 40 cents out of every taxpayer dollar that we're giving to the federal government is going to treat diseases that are diet related. And these foods, and again, I have a hard time calling them foods, processed meats, sodas, snacks, they constitute over 60% of daily calories in the United States, contributing to thousands of preventable deaths. I mean, it's crazy, Brandon.
Yeah, and here's a little article that we have from the BBC. Ultra-processed foods may be linked to early death. No, duh. I mean, I don't get it. In other countries, they don't do it in the way that we do it in America. Like you said, RFK is trying to make a change to that. But I mean, it is ridiculous because we see that it's not necessary for providing nutrition. We don't have to process the food the way we do.
No, it actually takes all the nutrition out. I mean, when you have high consumption of these things, it's going to increase your risk of obesity by 55% eating these ultra-processed compounds, and your risk of type 2 diabetes by 40%, and a chance of early death by 20%. A study indicated that these ultra-processed things, foods, again, I can't say it, it's just I can't say it. We're linked to over 124,000 preventable deaths in the United States in 2025 alone. 124,000 deaths that could have been avoided, Brandon. So really, for all of you out there that are drinking soda instead of water, eating chips instead of eating real food, Don't think that this isn't going to affect you until you're older. It's affecting you now. It is killing you every day. It is not good. And our diet, what we consume, is the number one factor in maintaining our health and quality of life. So your decisions count every day.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that we got a article here, but it's one of those things where it's compounding. You know, as young people, you think that you could just eat, you be a garbage can. I mean, I was a garbage. We used to drink soda. We used to drink soda hot, just right from going outside. But over
Oh,
time, it does have a contributing factor, and then when you get a little older, it's gonna catch up to you. But here's a
yeah.
little article we have of kimchi officially recognized by Trump's administration. Be sure to include in your diet. That's interesting.
Yeah, RFK Jr. and the Trump administration implemented the new 2025 to 2030 dietary guidelines for Americans, and they've officially recognized kimchi as a health food for the very first time. And the benefits of kimchi, it helps train and balance your immune system. It helps your body spot and fight off harmful germs more effectively. While also it calms down too much inflammation in your body that damages your health. And kimchi also drastically improves your cardiovascular health.
We have another article here. Effects of fermented kimchi. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, the regular consumption of kimchi is linked to lower blood pressure. It reduces your triglycerides. Those are blood fats,
Yeah.
like bad cholesterol, and it balances out your blood sugar, which help prevent heart disease and diabetes. This is especially important if you have family history of cardiovascular problems. And kimchi is high in fiber and probiotics, specifically lactic acid bacteria. Now, that's helping balance the good and the bad bacteria in your gut, and that's aiding in helping with your digestion, and it relieves symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, for instance. Also acid reflux, things like this all start in the gut. Being low calorie and high in fiber, kimchi is going to aid in metabolism. And several studies demonstrate that it has the ability to reduce body weight, Brandon. One study showed it reduced body fat by 31.8%. That's huge.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize that it's coming from the gut. Like almost everything, they call it your third brain or second brain. You know, it's coming from your gut. You have to, consume good quality stuff. But I want you to talk about this too, because there's, kimchi and then there's other fermented foods. Can you talk about kimchi versus those fermented foods?
Sure. I mean, I hear it so often from people, I'm eating sauerkraut or I'm eating yogurt or kefir, and I don't need to eat kimchi because I have these other fermented foods in my diet. And all these fermented foods are great for you. But let me tell you, nothing compares to kimchi. And here's why. Sauerkraut, if we look at sauerkraut, it only contains 28 different probiotic strains, which pales in comparison to kimchi because it has over 900 different strains of beneficial bacteria. Now, sauerkraut has beneficial health benefits, but there is a very clear reason why all the studies that are coming out about kimchi and not other fermented foods. Kimchi's king. I mean, the strains in kimchi, such as Lactobacillus plantarum, are noted for being particularly hardy, ensuring more live bacteria survive the journey to your gut. And many probiotics are going to die in the harsh acid environment of your stomach before they ever reach your gut. But the advantage of kimchi is that the physical cabbage and fiber actually act like a protective vehicle, if you will, this body armor. It shields the good bacteria during digestion, so it ensures a much higher percentage of the live microbes are going to arrive safely in your intestines, in your gut, where they need to be for you to get all the benefits.
And there's I hope I'm saying this right, antimicrobial properties. Am I saying that word right?
You're totally on. You're totally
I
saying it
knew I
right.
knew
Yeah.
I knew I'd get it.
I knew
So
you could do it.
now I understand how to read it, but can you explain exactly what that means?
Of course I can. I mean, it's something that everybody needs to be particularly concerned about when it comes to your own health. because microbial threats like pathogens, parasites, funguses, and bad bacteria, that's what we're talking about in the antimicrobials. So it's against those bad guys. Anti means against. So kimchi helps your body fight off viruses like the flu. One recent study found that kimchi can actually slow down the growth of the common flu virus. And that's a big reason for that. A big reason for that is how it supports your immune system. You know, Brandon, I don't know if you know this or not, but 70 to 80% of your immune system is housed in your gut.
Wow.
And so this is why it's so important to pay attention to having all the good guys in your gut. And kimchi's probiotics have also shown activity against candida, which is a common yeast that can overgrow. Again, another pathogen, especially after taking antibiotics. And I'm sure you know that almost everybody's taken antibiotics during their lifetime, and some of them have taken a lot of them. So you can imagine their gut is not healthy. So antibiotics wipe out the good and the bad bacteria. So when they wipe out your good bacteria, you've got to put back in fermented foods like kimchi to help rebuild that protective layer. You know, during the days of COVID-19, South Korea had a much lower death rate compared to every other country, which I found really interesting. But even more interesting, the same thing was noticed during the 2003 SARS outbreak, when South Korea reported 0 deaths, Brandon.
Dang.
And then, you know, the researchers looked at kimchi's antiviral and probiotic properties as the determining factor because they consume kimchi so regularly. They consume it every day, and some of them consume it at every meal. South Koreans actually live 5 to 6 years longer than we do in the United States. And of course, we know that we're not going to overhaul the global food system overnight. And the thing that we do have control over is our daily patterns. And those small, steady decisions that you're going to make from here on out, they compound over time. And getting the unique strains of bacteria from kimchi into your gut every day is the best way to start.
You know, one thing, a question I have, Kim, is you know, people consume kimchi in all kind of ways. Most people probably are like, what is kimchi, right? You think about it, consuming it in the food or whatever the case may be. But I think that some people, when they consume it via food or they just try to eat it raw, they may have, you know, maybe the taste is a little much for them. You know, can you talk about the difference between maybe consuming it like that or maybe a more convenient way to consume kimchi?
Yeah, I sure can. I mean, it's the only problem is it's not something that it's easy to consume every day, even if you like it. And that's why we went ahead and we created Kimchi One. And what Kimchi One is convenient capsules for daily use. What we did is we took the kimchi, the actual food, we use a cold process drying method to retain all of its fiber and nutrition of the actual fermented kimchi, and virtually no sodium in these capsules, unlike the store-bought kimchi. Good for people that have sodium restricted diets. 100% made in the USA, all natural, non-GMO. And Brandon, I'm telling you, we've got so many people writing in or calling us and saying this has just changed their life. And I mean, this is dramatic. Again, remember, health starts in the gut or disease starts in the gut. So your gut is your most important part of your body to start, you know, doing healthy things with. So people that had problems with digestion and bloating, finally getting regular. People who had problems with their immune system and they used to get sick all the time. They're not getting sick anymore. And people who experience chronic fatigue finally have their energy back. And people with diabetes who struggle with their blood sugar, their blood pressure, and their weight, they are experiencing such dramatic changes, Brandon.
I really love to hear that. The more you talk about this, the more in my mind I can think of my mama. I'm like, I gotta get my mama some kimchi because my mama is very picky and particular, and I know for a fact if she don't have to, you know, deal with a certain taste, she could just take a capsule, just a few of them. Drink her, you know, she got a little water that she drink with it, and I think it'll be phenomenal. I have to get her some. And I
Gotta
know
love
there's
on
people
your
in-
mama there. Love on your mama. Make
and
her
I
healthy.
and I know there's a whole bunch of people in my audience that can think about their mama or probably themselves that could probably use some kimchi.
Yes, and you know, I'd like to give them special so they can start today with themselves and their mamas. I mean, if they go to Brightcore.com/Tatum, they're going to get 25% off by clicking the link below. You've got that link below there. Or call 888-751-4429 for up to 50% off and free shipping. And the first 100 callers, Brandon, that that are calling in, we're going to give a free bottle of Revive capsules with their order.
Wow.
And Revive contains 5 types of collagen, hyaluronic acid, biotin, and vitamin C to reduce wrinkles, help you grow thicker, healthier hair, and even support stronger bones and joints. So again, you only get the best discounts and that free bottle of Revive capsules when you call in. That number is 888-751-4429.
Kim, thank you so much for always loving on my audience and always giving us good context and information and helping people be healthy for over 50 years, or at least 50 years. And we're very grateful for you. Over now.
Thank you.
And we're very grateful for you, and we always enjoy having you on the show to explain these things to us.
Well, God bless you and your audience. Thank you so much for having me, Brandon.
Kim, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, another good hitter. I can't imagine my thighs looking like that. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie, my thighs started to look like that for a minute there. I had to kimchi up myself. But make sure you take care of your health. It's one of the reasons why I love talking to Kim and why I love tackling these topics, because we always talk about politics and all that other stuff. But if you are not healthy, you're not doing the right thing with your body, you're not taking care of your gut, what is the point of politics?